Hello, I'm Ken Carpenter, and this is Invest AI Savvy, where AI powers smart investing. Happy Friday, April the 3rd, 2026. Today's signal of the day is MARA, M-A-R-A, a mid-cap Russell 2000 component trading around $8.71. Before we start, BuzzPulse is a social intelligence tool. Everything you hear today is commentary and not investment advice. And I'm not your financial advisor, so please do your own research before putting money anywhere. MARA showed up in our system with 9 independent convergence signals firing at once. The core detection came from Buzz Surge at Z-score 3.8 with momentum confirmation. Sentiment reads positive at plus 0.26. Short interest sits at 39%. That's squeeze territory if volume shows up. IV rank is low, so options are historically cheap, and we're seeing unusual call activity confirming directional bias. Mara is a Bitcoin miner, so its fate is tied to crypto's macro rotation. Bitcoin dominance dropped 3% over 24 hours. Capital is bleeding out of BTC and into altcoins and mining plays. The company reports earnings in 17 days, and insider activity shows net selling of 1.3 million over the past 30 days. Worth noting before you chase. Watch for follow-through volume above $8.90. If that breaks with continuation, the short interest becomes a catalyst. If volume stays thin, this signal fades fast. AMC is our first supporting signal. Small cap equity with a greed score of 0.453 and a Z-score of 5.2. Momentum is confirmed, sentiment positive at plus 0.26. Short interest is 22%, not as explosive as Mara, but enough to matter if retail pile. Trading at $1.12, the catalyst here is pure social momentum. No fundamental news, just buzz. Anytime AMC shows up in our convergence system with positive sentiment and momentum confirmation, it means retail is coordinating again. The risk is all noise with no institutional backing. What changes the picture is a volume spike above 200 million shares. Without that, this is a spectator sport, not alpha. DJT is next. Mid-cap equity, greed score 0.439, Z-score 4.5. Momentum confirmed, but sentiment is negative at minus 0.32. Social attention is surging, but the tone is bearish. Institutions are positioning through options, suggesting smart money is hedging or betting against the crowd. At $9.18, this is pure attention arbitrage. DJT lives and dies on narrative and political headlines, with negative sentiment and options activity pointing to downside protection. This is not a long setup. It's a fade candidate or a volatility trade. For most viewers, watch and learn, don't trade. RIOT comes in third. Mid-cap equity, a greed score of 0.402 and a Z-score of 2.6. Momentum confirmed, sentiment positive at plus 0.25, trading at $12.86. RIOT is another Bitcoin miner riding the same macro tailwind as Mara. The difference is lower short interest and no unusual options activity. A cleaner momentum play, but with less squeeze potential. Watch for RIOT to hold above $12.50. If it does, the next resistance is 14. If it loses 12, the setup breaks and you move on. ALGO rounds out the top 5. Crypto asset, greed score 0.625, Z-score 14.2, the highest in today's entire dataset. Momentum confirmed, sentiment positive at plus 0.50, and is a proof of stake blockchain catching flow as Bitcoin dominance bleeds into altcoins. Lunar Crush confirms solid social traction. Watch whether ALGO holds above its recent support levels. If it does, the next leg higher is in play. If it loses support, the extreme Z-score becomes a fade signal. VIX sits at 23.9, down 13% over 5 days. Fear is still elevated, which means any surge signal carries amplified weight today. CPI inflation data drops in 7 days. That's the next macro catalyst that could shift the entire regime. Until then, these signals are live, but they're fragile. I'm Ken Carpenter. This is Invest AI Savvy, and that's the way it is.